don't have to, but if you don't, then your vote doesn't count.
There, that's just what I was gonna say.
It won't.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that myself. That it won't count. So, if you need anything blank, it doesn't count.
What's that?
Regardless if you need anything.
Well, it
That's
doesn't,
okay.
cause it's.
Good,
it's-
I think
it's
I'm going to
okay.
watch the Brewer game when
Well,
it's
it is
tomorrow
okay.
night, I'm trying to
Yeah.
find the
You
organizers.
don't have to vote for
group to go
everybody.
watch with, and I'm just at the
And
bar,
that's
but
just what I
yeah.
was telling her.
Yeah.
It's an
When you-
old, it's called a
Yeah.
under vote or,
Yeah.
you know,
And then for all the
Swelling in the
carriers,
there's like
Yeah, I
nothing.
A
agreed,
couple
so
weeks
that
ago,
means
he
if
said
there's a
this like
write-in, you're going
button
to
that he
record
pushes,
it on the
he
sheet,
falls.
on the.
Like I got a call a couple weeks ago,
Oh,
but then
yeah.
I went down and
Because
he had just
you're
accidentally pressed
thing,
it,
and
so that
so
was.
there's one, so we're gonna record
Maybe
it,
one
right?
of
On
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
on that ballot.
Not
Maybe
only
pretty
if
soon
they're
I was
registered
home,
right
like I
now.
don't know how much longer he'll be able to do that, but
Well,
Otherwise
we
it's
got
just, yeah.
one of those.
we're happy to have him around, that's for
That's
sure.
right.
I haven't gotten anything yet, nothing,
Did you
Oh.
see the emails?
I've gotten nothing.
Cover sheet? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just moved the maintenance one, cause there's enough to cover it, like,
We're waiting
I
patiently.
didn't know how, all of the
I know.
tide buckets
Yeah.
were reaching these little guys.
Yeah, that's me.
I just sent it, I just copied that first section of it, it's like only kind of read, but then I only, I know I was like, I was gonna put 4, and then I think it was just minutes away, but
How's it going, Mike?
Hey, not too bad.
After that.
Oh,
Okay,
let's see.
alright, and then, yeah, we'll see what works, I'm sure we might impress her.
Good morning. How are you?
As much as it rains, the other part doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. Oh my gosh. They probably have to go to from our.
Yeah, cause I sent you, like, the one that I copied it into, so I guess all the changes on the one that you sent. Like, when you send me
Where?
yours here, the copy that's, that, oh, put paste it
Our
into
road.
the live one that we're working with.
Oh.
So I just archived that one
Sorry.
and sent it to you, cause that's like what everything else.
No, but
I
So
know.
I pulled that one you sent me from 2025.
Yeah, with the proposed, yeah. Oh, did I send it, did I send it on what?
You sent me 2024.
Oh,
Didn't check green.
I didn't need to do that, I thought I did that one. How did I even do that?
We labeled it 2024 maintenance budgets.
So then I must have changed the wrong thing.
Oh, well.
No, that's not good.
In Ingram on Sunday when I threw candy, I was really surprised because I threw it, and then when there was water in his ears, I'm like, oh, sorry, his ears are like, oh.
Where were you at, Tom?
It was Ingram,
Oh,
yeah, it was fun,
yeah, it is, I marked it down.
it is really fun.
Did they have, dinner and stuff there then? I was got these there free.
Yeah, it was really nice. For a little town, it's a nice place. You know, one of the biggest, Mardi Gras.
Sorry, I thought you meant like the columns, to go to more of the columns, so they're not the one that I'm sending back.
Well, it's so famous when you work in,
Yeah.
you and Jump River Rose.
Well, I was just gonna say, it's not the same without Jump River Road.
Okay.
She was there when I was a kid. You know, my parents went down there and they came home and there were 7 of us.
8:00, we call property meeting to order. First thing, approval of the minutes for July 12th, 2024. For a motion,
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
motion by Mr. Hanson, second by Mr. Goodes. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Number 1, recycling, Charmaine, coordinator report including update on outreach foundation sites and review of the 2025 proposed budget.
So I, figured out site attendant reimbursement for this year, and I know we talked about the Village of Hawkins, and what they were going to do, and we eliminated curbside for 2025. So what I did is I looked at what we did in 2023, and, doing the same similar thing of reimbursing them half. I didn't wanna wait until the year closed and finish it out, so, I just worked it out to approximately 9 hours a week. On average is what they submitted last year, and, so it'll be similar to what they received last year. That way I can have very good totals for budget, and then I will send them a notice if you're okay with that. So, it's similar to what they got in 2023, I will send them a notice that there is nothing in 2025. You okay with that?
Very good, it's, notice. We have to vote on that.
And Jimmy's sending me the budget. Can you just go to, forestry and then we'll come back for the budget?
Yeah, we can get Mike out of the way. Number 2, forestry approval of the purchase utility trailer.
We have 2 trailers right now, and one is relatively new, a couple years old, the other one is, I don't know, it's been there for years, longer than I've been there. We took it to highway to do some repairs on it, and they said it was gonna be like $2,000 to bring this thing up to spec or whatever. So we looked at some new trailers, and the one that we have, we were quoted at $3,550 for that one.
Is it a specially customized trailer for special equipment or something? Cause I read through that.
No, the only thing that we did is ask for like a higher axle rating, the 5,200-pound axle rating.
And I'd seen the options on there, aluminum rims, there's quite a few options that were extra on there, do we need all?
No, the only option that we would be getting would be a spare tire. None of the other options.
What, 30?
We don't need that.
What was it, 33,
$3,550,
35?
and that was with the spare tire option.
How big is it?
83 inches by 14 feet. So that allows us to haul 2 of our zero-turn mowers.
That's what I was my next question, is it for the mowers?
Yeah,
You can also haul your ATVs on it.
Correct,
too, I
yep.
believe, Cause I see a side gate.
yes, you can side load ATVs
Okay.
if you need to put that many on there. Yeah.
Any other questions for Mike? Pete's, right?
Yes, Pete's Trailer Sales.
Which budget?
Forestry equipment.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase for forestry.
A motion by Mr. Hanson. For $3,550.
$3,550 utility trailer.
Wanna go a little higher just in case he needs it?
Really shouldn't, because that's not big of that big of a trailer. Motion by Mr. Hanson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ludwig, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Got your new trailer.
Alright, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Technical difficulties.
You want me to keep moving down the list?
She's gonna use mine.
No, cause I have that too.
This is the first day for learning.
My laptop thinks I'm still down there, but I rebooted and it's still not hooked up. Oh,
Oh, boy.
This is off. Okay, well, I'll just talk about it, cause that was off, so it's gonna take a while to start. Okay, so the recycling budget, I'm actually, requesting less in-site attendance because of the elimination of curbside. This budget is strictly only for clean sweep, at least it has been in the past. It was always 100% grant funded. But now there actually needs to be some levy in it. That was shut off, I just turned it on. So it's rebooting. Levy is looking at 17,169. The target was 9,938, so, there's, other than that, the biggest thing that comes out of this budget is waste management. And so what I predicted was a 2.5 CPI increase. So I factored in 6 months of what it currently is, and then in July, we started a higher rate, and then threw in $1,200 worth of contamination fees. And so you can see that's the biggest part of the budget by far. And the grant, it used to always be $82,022, but yeah, it's still close to that, but not as much. But there is no way to get more grant money. We get what we got in 1995. And actually when they change the law, we'll probably be getting less. It is unheard of to be 100% grant funded, and we started in 1995, so that is why we lucked out that stars aligned in 1995. So unless you want drastic or additional cuts, that's what you're looking at. So that because expenses have drastically increased since 1995, but there's no more grant money. So it used to be a clean sweep budget, now it's clean sweep plus a tad more. So that's all I have for the recycling budget. Any questions?
What we use that tad more?
There's almost 10.
Well, if you look at 2014 to, or 2024 to 2025, we're at about $4,000.
Oh,
That's usually what I.
okay, okay.
Any questions?
We have to have a motion.
That's right.
The budgets. What did we do last night? I think we,
Motion to approve and forward to finance.
finance, yeah. That's what we did last night.
Okay, so I guess we're getting the motion for finance. Is there any motion?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Goods.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hanson to approve this motion for finance. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Carries on the sign. That's a go. Administrative coordinator, review of the proposal received for 900 and 906 College Avenue, Smith area.
Okay, so I emailed this to you guys a few weeks back. If you remember when we put the RFP together with Rebecca from Atollis Law, in that RFP, the board approved that the proposals we received back would go to the property committee, and the property committee would determine the next steps. So that's what we're here to do today. So you have a couple options. We can schedule an interview with the person who submitted or company that submitted the proposal. You can choose to do nothing with the proposal. You can choose to forward something to the board. It's really at the discretion of this committee how you'd like to move forward with that. Do you want me to plug do you guys have it on your laptops? Do you want me to plug
I
my?
read through it, but
Okay.
If anybody else wants to plug in, Steve. 2.
Chapter 2.
And if I'm understanding this correctly, Ashley, this is for like all the land out there?
Yes.
What do you call it?
It's tab 2.
Tab 2, I'm
Do
sorry.
you know what page, Terry, do you know what page it is?
Go to tab 2 and it's like right there. Next.
Right at the beginning of tab 2.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
There's a lot in that packet though.
Yeah, there is, so a page number would help me out.
Okay. Can I get it
Okay, you don't need to narrate this.
You want me narrating?
No, thank you.
Putting you in the hot seat.
Here we go.
There you go.
Okay, so this first page of tab 2,
Yeah.
okay?
One thing that concerns me is meetings are held with the city and the staff and the community members and receiving feedback on the development. Is the city involved in this?
For the TIF district, they would be.
They'd be getting money from the city to assist with this development.
And again, the understanding is this is every ounce of land out there?
Yeah, so, okay, I don't know what page that map was on, but there's a,
It's fine.
yeah, there's a map in there, so.
Clarifying.
Are you talking about the one where it has the site plan?
Where it puts the hotel here, the.
Page 35.
Yeah, so they're proposing developing all of those lots that we have out there.
So I guess my concern in this is we're gonna let one developer come in and develop it all. And it doesn't allow anybody else that might have ideas for any other parcels in there to bring in anything else. I'm saying that right?
Yeah, and then the fact that we only got one offer.
Had we got more, sorry Terry, what do you
No, go ahead.
would we have gotten more potentially if we had thrown this out and broke the parcels up?
Very possibly, yeah.
Which would allow, you know, if somebody wanted just that corner over there, they could take that corner or, you know, other lots that we have there. And I don't know if we should tie ourselves to one developer and we take the whole ball of wax and it doesn't bring nothing else to Ladysmith or any other options to Ladysmith. It is whatever they build, that's what we get.
How long is this proposal valid?
I'm not sure if he stipulated in there that there was an expiration date.
Right, that's just what I was wondering.
What's the norm?
It can be 30, 60, 90, yeah, kinda depends on what the developer's looking for. The calendar that we had in there, I think, was possible interviews with property committee, August or September, full approval by the board, possible in September or October, something along those lines. So I'm guessing he's expecting to hear something back.
Well, my thoughts are, we're just putting all our eggs in one basket. We're not allowing other potential businesses to come in and be a part of it. And we're tying ourselves to one specific thing. That's just my train of thought. There's three others that have different ideas.
I think it might be worthwhile to put it out for more offers and and that they can do parcels rather than having to do the whole thing, and just see, you know, if we get any other proposals or questions on that. Have you had any indication that others might bid if it weren't parcels rather than the whole?
Yeah, so a couple of people contacted me and said, is the board willing to only sell the two north of College Avenue? And I said, well, not the way the proposal is written. So the proposal was written that you have to bid on the lower parcels and you can add in the northern parcels if you wanted to. But two that I can think of interactions I had, the people didn't want the river lots, they wanted those north ones. So I mean, it could make a difference, possibly.
Well, since if there isn't a timeline on here, I think, you know, it might be worthwhile to put out another RFP for, you know, that's, you can bid on individual plots rather than the whole thing. And so maybe we should, our recommendation would be to forward this to the county board to authorize the RFP, or does that come from us?
Yeah, I would forward whatever your recommendation is to the board. So if you want an amended RFP, I would forward that recommendation.
I don't think, you know, if there's no time limit on this, I think we'd have to let them know that, you know, what's happening. But, I don't think we have anything to lose by trying to find out something more.
So your motion would be
To, refer this to the county board to issue a revised RFP, allowing bidding on, or proposals on individual parcels.
That's your motion, Terry.
Yeah, it might be, needed to be a little, worded a little smoother, but yeah.
Terry has a motion on the floor of what you just said. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Goodis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries to the board.
So we're not rejecting this, we're just getting a revised RFP.
Yeah,
We're getting permission.
casting a wider net,
A
maybe.
wider range. So that takes care of B. Which means close the board. Right?
Okay, yep.
One birthday. Or one song. Whatever. Approval of sublease 1101 Lake Avenue, Ladysmith, Wisconsin with Western Urology effective May 9th, 2024.
Okay, so you guys had the same lease, and I know it's
Yeah.
confusing, I confirmed with Kelsey at Oakley. So you are approving a lease with a second urology provider. So it's the same Western Urology, but we're gonna get a second provider coming to Ladysmith a different day of the week.
Oh,
It's the same thing, but a different doctor?
Exactly, yes.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yep, so the doctors are subleasing that space from Oakleaf. So again, it's the same company, it's just that
Two doctors.
we're getting two doctors, yeah, so that's a good thing.
We had like three different departments to this now.
Three, yeah, yep.
It's gotta be outstanding that they're expanding out a little.
And not only do we have a urology provider, we're now gonna have two for people to actually have choice, so.
So we must have a demand in them areas that came across the table.
Yeah, that would be my guess, that that's who Oakleaf clients are wanting to see.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the sublease for that, for Western Urology effective May 9th, 2024.
Motion by Mr. Wywick, is there a second? Second by Mr. Hanson, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, observation. Version of north side, conversion of north side parking space to reserved spot.
I would ask that we remove this from the agenda as that is no longer needed.
Will it ever be needed? And I don't wanna. go
No,
into specifics.
accommodations have been made without needing that. Yep.
Good enough then. Buildings and grounds.
Alright, musical chairs here again.
Home clinic building repair.
Thank you very much.
I did not put that on the agenda. I know we are waiting for RTS. They were supposed to actually come out last Tuesday or Wednesday to, look at the roof and why we're leaking, but they didn't show, so was there something
I think
else?
that's just.
Yeah, so Rob is looking for, the clinic roof is leaking a lot and they have dehumidifiers running and everything in there. So Rob is looking from an okay from the property committee to move forward with repairing where they think that leak is coming, which is on like a seam on the top of the roof there. Unfortunately, we, like Charmaine said, they didn't show up. We were hoping to have a number for you, but we don't.
Is this being put out for bids?
It's hard to even know what it is, cause you have to tear into it before you can find the problem, so.
So are you having more than one contractor? That's my question, it's gotta be put out for bids?
Well, we think the dollar amount will be under that threshold.
Oh,
Is this leak like in the middle of the building, side of the
Yes.
building? So it's the seam that kinda runs down the center of the building when they drill.
Yep. Yep, and they are emptying 3 dehumidifiers every morning, and in the afternoon, I mean, they're almost full again, so.
We don't-
Lots of water coming out of there.
Just right away, and that building's gonna be junk.
Right, and it's kind of a complex issue because, for instance, the proposal we just went through, in their proposal, they're planning on taking the thing out. So it's like, you know, how much money do you guys wanna put into it at this point? Cause we really don't know what's gonna happen with it.
Okay, so can we just,
Well, Jamie suggested if you guys have a number you're comfortable with to at least get something repaired, maybe you could authorize up to that amount, so Rob has a little something to work with.
how do you know what to pick for a number when we don't even know what it is?
Yeah, I know.
Is Rob a roof specialist?
Rob is an expert out at that area out
But
there, he
yeah,
really
this
is.
company that's coming in apparently is. so.
Yes, and they have worked on it in the past, he said.
Yeah, but he did say in order for them to really give an estimate, they got to like take the
Dig
roof
into
up, and so it's just gonna be easier to fix it while they're in there, so if they, you know, if that's within whatever number you guys are comfortable with, they could just get it done.
It's an
But-
open window though, how can we throw a number out? I mean, it could go from $5,000 to $25,000. I mean, how can you ask us for a number when we don't even know what to put on the plate?
Should we call you when they have it open? But I'm not sure the person who's gonna be opening it is gonna know that dollar amount. And then do you leave it open?
No, so I mean, this is
So-
catch-22 here, so I don't know what to throw out for a number. And I've done roofing in the past, so I mean, I know flat roofs, road roofs, all that good stuff, but until you dig into it, you have no idea what you're getting into. I mean, who knows if the water didn't spread on down the seam farther, and then you gotta repair that whole lineup.
Okay, so are you more comfortable if we just try to get this company here, take a look at it, and then bring you back a number? Is that what you're
We
thinking?
have to, I don't think we can throw a number out and just give you an open credit card or an open. Right?
well, I think if they come and there's something that, you know, they say it'll be this much and that, you know, they can always call you to get permission to go ahead and do it, you know,
Correct.
without
Within
having another
reason.
committee, doesn't have to wait another month and another flood and another, you know, more damage.
Within reason, I mean.
Okay.
That's about.
But are they going to show if they didn't show this time, are they reliable?
familiar with the company, but, I can definitely, call them.
You don't know what to say, I mean,
Where are they from?
I thought Eau Claire, I think it's,
It's RTS.
yeah,
Oh, RTS.
yeah. Mhm. Yep, Altoona,
Did they give her a reason for not showing up? Or,
I didn't ask, I know Rob told me and I'm like, great, and then I'm like, so I asked him this morning the status, he's like, they never showed. So I don't know, but
have they rescheduled?
I will find out those
Rob made it-
answers.
Kind of made it sound like they were trying to fit it in between other things, like I'm sure they have work lined up for the whole
Yeah.
summer, and it's kind of more of a courtesy, like, hey, we understand you're in bind, and
did we call around more than one roofing company? I mean, there's a couple out right.
I think Rob just called this one because they'd done work on it prior.
Expand their horizon a little, reach out to other roofing companies. Roofing's the same, no matter who does it.
We've had Paul's Sheet Metal work on the courthouse, so, I can call this company and if they can't commit,
Yeah, then we need to
look
move
around.
So your consensus of Harry are to find
Well,
somebody or what?
we should get somebody in there, but, you know, the cost is gonna be, you know, we have to get 3 bids, you know.
Right, if it ends up being a gigantic project rather than a smaller repair.
Is that a rubber roof up on top? That's gotta be a rubber roof.
I thought he said it was, yeah, and there's rock on top of it?
Yeah, I usually put
Oh.
I put the film down and then the rubber roof and do that, then put the rock on top. So they gotta pull the rock back, find the seam, and figure out who's raised up or where the leak may be supposedly. But normally you can just put a patch over the top of that. But again, it goes to the fact of how wet is it and how far did it go out in the roof now too. So that's gonna be the other issue. Good on that one? Anybody got any other questions?
I got a question, do we have our floor drains to work out there?
Or who?
Floor drains?
I don't know.
Well, I'm just wondering, because you talk about people having to go out there and dump that every day, you know, the humidifiers, I got one of them.
It's leaking right on the carpet in these offices.
Yeah.
So there's not a floor drain in there.
Well, I bet there is, but.
like, I think what he's thinking is you can attach a hose to the dehumidifier, then run
Right,
that
yeah.
right
Oh,
through it,
right,
so you
these-
don't have to.
I got that right in my own basement, and gee whiz, they don't cost.
Yes, these are, they're not commercial units, but yeah, they could possibly hook a hose to it and run it to a floor drain.
Well, if that's what the thing is made for.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, these are just, yeah, they're not large commercial units by any means.
Well, even the
But we
smaller
can
ones,
see.
even the smaller.
Yeah, I know my one at home, I could do that, run a hose, yeah, yep,
I guess we should check on.
yep, and well, along with that, cause, they do check that building every day, cause we still have not switched over, we're working on switching over, the fire monitoring. We're working on the credit application right now, because that goes off frequently and it's calling the new Marshville Clinic and they would like that to stop, so, we're switching that over, so it's, until that happens, it's probably good that they're out there checking the building, making sure everything's fine.
Okay. Are we all good on the train of thought on that one? Good.
Review 2025 proposed budget.
Okay, alright, start with the courthouse one. One of the things on the agenda later is, increasing, the caretaker, hours, so, that's in here.
There was a change in summer help, so that was, I'm estimating 1 returning. So upped that 1 at 16, 2 at 15. Was not sure what to do with 3rd floor courthouse bathrooms, but I've seen that on an agenda. In 2024, under equipment, I have, oh, there it is. Yeah, a genie lift. Every time we, rent one of those, it's $425, and that's just for the day. It does appear that, it was listed on, the capital improvement request for, 2025, but, I believe there's money, to do that, but I don't have quotes or anything, I'm just saying that's why that's in there. And then for 2025, capital improvement project, adding a skid steer, and what is this one? Oh, okay, I did throw in there, 35,000 would be the typical number there for courthouse repairs, and I added 100,000 for 3rd floor bathroom, if that happens. So that's just an explanation of the numbers. So,
How much is the budget
So
up
actually-
over last year?
85, 60, so 180,000.
Oh, yes.
180,000 additional.
And this charge to departments, you kinda never really know what that is, but I would think, cause now we have James doing all of the mowing out at Trails End, that should be, a bit less. So that's why I didn't keep it the same number. That fluctuates between the years. Do you wanna listen to them all, or do you wanna?
So the yellow for the 85,000 is the courthouse equipment.
That is for the track skid steer. I was told that our capital improvement requests, we have to throw in the budget. So. And there were a lot of them, but, I only selected a few, and the north bathrooms, that's Jamie added that to her capital improvement fund for bond projects, capital projects. So I was going for that one. The electrical transformer upgrade by Excel, that is, very much needed, but, I don't have good numbers, so I did nothing with that. We'll see if we get through the fair again. The problem is we have all this service, but we do not have a transformer that can, work with that much. So we're going to, so they came several months ago, B&B, and they were going to, route some service from one heavy panel, to another to resolve the problem, but, the owner's in Germany, so I couldn't really get a hold to get a good number. But that is something to, it would be nice to,
That's not on the budget?
no, I did not,
Or
I
capital?
did not throw that in there, so, but the north bathrooms was the big priority, that's on capital projects. But wash rack upgrades, I mean, there were several that he had on here. He had a track skid steer on fairgrounds and also courthouse, so we currently have a skid steer, so.
I don't know why you need.
I know one, is nice to have in the buildings, I think it's smaller, so it can actually go into the barns. I think that's the one maybe we have, and this one would be for bigger projects. But I, of course, don't have quotes on any of that, I'm going off of what the former facilities manager had on the project, so I will definitely run with that to get the green light.
So, I mean, did you say that we need a larger transformer?
With the way things are out there, yes, but XL Energy refuses to give us one. If we, had that much usage year round, they would, but they will not. So what we have to do is just take some electric from one panel, move it to another, and then we'll be fine. But yeah, we've worked several times with XL and they will not give us a
They
larger
won't-
transformer.
But they won't work with you in a residential area. You know, if more services needed, they provide it. Wow. So they're gonna hook you at both ends. Is what it
Well-
amounts to.
Hopefully at a lesser dollar amount than a new transformer. I don't know what that would even be, but, there's ways to do it without getting a new transformer, and that's the route we have to take.
Well, we did, when I was working with the city, we did the same thing down in the park, you know, to allow for all the Mardi Gras equipment. You had to do that. Even had to do it for all the Christmas lights
Yeah,
and add on more
Yeah.
power, you know, and switch it from
Yeah.
one place to the other.
so it's just moving some juice from one to the other.
She's through the tab, she's got several.
Yeah, I know she's got several, I was trying to avoid the tabs. You need something on these two items to push to finance, is that what you're saying?
The budget.
Or the budget? I was gonna say something.
Let her get through it then.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we're supposed to present our budgets to our oversight committee before taking it to the.
So, you wanna do it all in one?
Hit her.
Alright, next one is county-owned, buildings, so minor avenues, storage, things like that. The day the day after I was appointed facilities manager, I went to all the county properties, to understand them better. And, apparently the library just has one boiler. It could use another one, but that would not be in this budget, just thought I'd throw that out there. Otherwise, I'm under the target in one of them. Airport, okay, so, later on the agenda is, the crack ceiling, so that's 14,500, that is.
No, that'll hit the next budget over, 51.
Oh, yes, so, what did I do? Okay, and I think we're talking about, increasing, hangar rental, things like that. So, all of these are just like a 5% increase, unless you, change your mind. That one I do have under, cause that crack ceiling, yes, is out of the next budget, so another one that's under budget, keep that in mind. Okay, here we go, the 14,500, if that goes through today, and that will happen this year, so that'll be great. Otherwise, just going back to the 7,500 next year. And, we already talked about recycling. Fairgrounds, let's see, what are my little notes here? Okay, this is where I threw the electrical transformer, so I'm sorry I was talking about it in the wrong budget, but anyway, here's where I threw the 50,000, so you'd asked me if it was in the courthouse budget, it's not, it's here. And, that's what he had on the list, once he gets back from Germany, I should have a better number. But yeah, that's really all I changed in that, other than user fees. Justice Youth and Extension is this afternoon, and they're talking about increasing user fees. So I added a little more in there. I know there's been drastic improvements at the fairgrounds. That should taper off now. It's, if you maintain them more, you'll have less expense, and, we did the best we could with what we had, so, you should see that going down, in the future. The 512 is senior youth building. I see on here that we have a building rental line. Now, when that building was built, it was all grant funded, and so we only allow
youth and senior organizations to use that building, and it's free of charge. And let me tell you, we have a lot of organizations using that. That has skyrocketed this last year. So if that got opened up, that would generate revenue, and there is a huge need for building usage, like private, not so much organization. Jumper Electric has a beautiful meeting room, but that's for organizations. Lower level of the library, if you can get in, great, but there's just not a lot out there. So I would like to explore that, but that's involving Health and Human Services as well, but that could be another potential revenue stream. When you're down there later, look at the floor. The floor really, really, really needs to be painted. Maintenance did it several years ago, and it just needs some, I have no idea what that would even cost, but several years ago, we had a company come into Trails End and they did the kitchen, and, you know, depending on, you know, if maintenance feels they can pull it off again and we have funding, they could do it, or maybe I would look at that company to come in and do it or give an estimate or something. And then there's been some work with the compressor and a pressure switch and all of that. That is coming to a close, but I have no idea what the dollar amount is. That project started, and it's been continually, apparently a pressure switch was on order, and it never got ordered. So that project will come to a close in the next few weeks. But once again, I have no idea of a dollar amount. So, I just threw in 2024 15,000 for the year. I have no idea. That possibly, depending on that pressure switch, how much that is, that could also include the floor. We had talked about doing the floor in October. In order to do the floor, you have to shut the meal site down for a couple days, and Kathy would need advance notice on that. But also, when I was down there touring buildings, I noticed, and I wanna point this out when you're down there, if you walk in the senior center garage, it's split in two, so you can't get through them. So if you go in the garage area, you think you can reach around and flip a light? You have to walk all the way through to flip a switch, and that's because the box is on the other side. There's lawnmowers, there's all sorts of stuff in there. That is just not safe. So I did get a quote on that, just to give them a switch would be $717. So I wanna go ahead with that. But then there's, on the other side, the box over there, it actually feeds the ice rink lights and the power to one of those panels. And to clean all of that up, I got a quote of $1,271, but that's not on the agenda, but that could all factor in that 15,000, but those are some things I'll show you down there. So that's the fairgrounds, and one more.
You said something about something was being built with grant funds and that prohibited renting it to outside.
The senior youth building, cause I tried this many years ago when Ted East was the administrative coordinator, and it came to this meeting and he flopped that big old binder down and he said this was paid with grant funds. And my point at that time was, but it is no longer. So,
It's no longer under what regulation of the grant?
well, yeah, that grant dried up. I mean, it's a levy, you know, building. So I think we should be able to change that. And Jeremy was, you know, I've talked to Jeremy too about that. It just gets a whole lot of usage, and so, but very little love, it seems like. So if we got more money, we could improve the building more, but the only way to do that is to start charging. That can totally be a different future, but that is why they did not allow. So I just find it funny that there's a building rental revenue line in there when I've never been able to book that building for private use.
And
So-
there hasn't been any income into that
No.
line.
So since it's there, why not
Just
explore?
out of curiosity, when was that building put up? Anybody know?
I could look on an inventory.
If you had throw against?
Well, I was employed here, and I've been here 30 years, so, and I was working in senior services at the time.
Was it up before you got here or up when you?
20. It was 2000?
It's been up quite a while.
So, there's just a lot of wear and tear on the building, and so it'd be nice to recoup some of those costs.
Absolutely.
Just, and I could explore that option, with other committees if you're game with that. And the last one, Trails End, so 15,000 is, for contingency, so actually, Jamie fixed that, she put, oh wait. Okay, it's in this
It's down.
249?
It's down there.
Oh, cause that, I had for.
No,
Oh, wait, but there is no more, that's where you put it, so I can take actually 15 out of here then, cause that's where I had it.
No, you need to leave that there, it off.
Offsets, okay, this is a contingency money for, the swinging bridge, this is just the repair. But I also asked Jamie to add it to capital and projects for replacement of the swinging bridge next year. If you remember, we just got a permit for like $900 and it expires the end of 2025, so, we gotta get cracking on that. Though that will be built in stages, but it will be a complete replacement of the swinging bridge. And I went with the number that was on the page, 85,000, so, but that you don't see in here, so, and estimating, I will have a better handle on revenue, by the time, hopefully by September. I have a lot of bills, I just haven't processed them, or where I build groups, so, the youth groups. But, so I'm hoping revenue hits even more than this. And the Board of Trustees did, vote on rates already, so they did a drastic change for 2024, and so we're just gonna, they're going to, keep that for 2025, cause I'm already getting bookings well into that and beyond. So I hope to add to that revenue line, which would take it down.
But okay, you said the 85,000 or whatever for the swinging bridge isn't in there,
That's on the capital projects.
but I thought you had other capital projects that you said you included in the budget.
In Trails End?
No, for other,
Oh, the only
Other
thing was
budgets.
the, north bathrooms and, swinging bridge.
so we're not being consistent across the board on that?
Well,
Be including capital projects in some budgets and not in others?
Well, if it would be funded with bond proceeds, that would go into the capital projects budget. If it's going to have to be funded by levy or something.
Levy, it'd have to be in the budget.
Yeah.
but there was a huge list and I didn't throw them all in there, but I can
Yeah.
gladly throw them in there, but
And the finance committee can change that, it's just, if we have those projects that need, we have the bond proceeds, or we will have the bond proceeds, those are projects that we can, that frees up levy to use for other things.
Any other questions?
I'm done unless you have more questions.
Anybody got questions?
Just a comment, I can remember when, and it wasn't that long ago, when the buildings down in the park were free, and they were free forever. And then you started tacking on a little bit for the rental of the building, Last I heard, it was $25 for one and $50 for another. But they have, most of them are cheaper than that. And anything that they got bathrooms to or anything like that, well, then that was a $50 building. You have it for all day and stuff, so. There are ways around that. The other thing is, the bank downtown, that had one of the biggest meeting rooms in the city. Well, I don't know if it does anymore or not, the right for the elite will even rent it out, but.
You mean Wells
That was,
Fargo?
that was free. But I'm sure it wouldn't be free now.
Embrace owns
can, in private use, would, I mean, they're not, yeah, they're expecting there to be a fee, you know, but I can't even book it for them because it's not an allowed usage.
Unless you don't like it, then make changes now.
But when they call me, I say, well, you can book a fairgrounds building, you know, so this is the rate, plus you need insurance, you know, so I do offer the other things, but, you know, for like a baby shower or a birthday party or something like that, you know, yep, they can go rent a pavilion or something somewhere, you know, the county parks, all of that, but in the winter time, it really slim pickings.
So if there's no questions or any changes anybody's seen that they wanna address? If not, motion would be, motion to push this to finance. As proposed.
I just wanna throw it out there, something to be thinking on in the radar. Trails End needs substantial electrical upgrades. Just like the fairgrounds did, we have a lot of buildings piggybacked off of one another, and, we learned, things when we upgraded the camping. So I did not throw that in there, but it should be on a future
Future agenda?
chat.
Put it on next month so we can discuss. So is there a motion to push this to finance proposed budget? Motion by Mr. Goodes, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hanson, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Alright, opposed, same sign. Finance goes. Trails End report.
We're still hopping, facilities wise, really nothing to say, hopefully, other than what we already talked about.
Trails, let's see, Trails End, increase hours for Trails End coordinator 2024.
Ashley, do you wanna talk or do you want me to?
Sure, I'll give an overview. So, James is our Trails End coordinator, and he is already bumping pretty close to his allowable hours. So this is obviously one of the busiest times of the year for Trails End, so it's very likely that he's going to hit those hours before year's end, and then what are we gonna do out there? We already know our maintenance department is pretty strapped. Of course, this does come with a fiscal impact, and we need to talk to Jamie about being careful with benefits and WRS and all of those things. But we don't know what we're gonna do if James hits all of his hours by September 7th, and we still have months of the year left out at Trails End.
And I think that, the best way to do it would be to classify him as a casual employee, because he's not going to work a set number of hours every week. So like our part-time employees that get, you know, vacation or PTO and holidays, you know, I'm 20 hours a week. If I don't work 20 hours a week, I use my PTO to get up to that 20 hours a week. Well, that wouldn't really work in this case because he's gonna be working more like 40 hours a week in the summer and maybe not at all in the winter. So I think if he was classified as a casual employee, then he would be eligible for WRS, which is not an issue. I think that, he would really appreciate that benefit anyway. But then it wouldn't complicate things with the PTO, because we don't really have a method for those casual type employees with PTO and holiday pay and that.
So how many, yeah, we can just change his title to casual then, or would it have to go?
So I believe you approved a job description with a set number of hours in it. So if you're okay making this a casual employee with no kind of cap on the hours, I think it would be a change to the job description.
But then I'd have to go through personnel.
Will we still have to budget for more hours?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Which is already in there.
Yeah, yes,
We probably have to make the budget for that.
But then,
okay, yes.
so then if he's WRS, then he's gonna have fringe benefit insurance and everything.
Not insurance. WRS is the 1,200 per year threshold.
Right.
So if we budget for 1,200 hours, if we plan on him working 1,200 hours in 2025, January 1st is when he would become WRS enrolled, because when the change of expectation occurs. Right now, we're just kind of monitoring him on a rolling basis to make sure he doesn't
Right.
hit that on a 12-month, but if you have to monitor it, so when they either hit that on the 12-month basis, or there's a change in expectation, which would be the case here, that 2025 he's gonna work 1,200 hours, then we would enroll him on that. But for the health insurance, it's 30 hours a week average, so we would look at, he's not gonna be working that 30 hours a week year-round average, so the health insurance would not be offered.
But then he would get PTO.
No, not if we classify him as a casual employee.
Well, I'm just thinking with the animal shelter, they can't go over so many hours and they don't get anything, and so.
Yeah, it's just that, with the irregular schedule, PTO would be difficult.
So the idea is to push this personnel with the change to a casual employee on the trails and coordinator,
Change the hours. Increase the hours.
increase the hours.
So it looks like, okay, my computer is very slow, so I apologize, but it looks like we passed a resolution last year in July.
I don't remember this, but I
Yep.
remember that.
Yep, I'm just trying to find the. Okay.
There's a lot going on up here.
Yeah, that was at the July 25th meeting. The packet is loading.
Did we pay our internet bill?
We went down a couple gigs, it seems.
Hasn't been entered in the system yet.
Touche.
Okay, so yeah, Jamie is correct. So what we did was, instead of having it be a seasonal employee, we changed it to technically being classified as part-time, but that comes with all those restrictions Jamie just talked about. So yes, I think the direction would be to recommend to the personnel committee that we now strike out part-time and put casual employee. So I don't know, like literally that was the only change to the job description, if you guys can see that.
With the increase now of hours though, right? Or would that casual employee automatically, would that take away?
I think it would be kinda nice to be, say, this position is not eligible for benefits.
Well, but he will get retirement.
Right, and that's, required through WRS, yeah.
But no insurance, no PTO, because it's so flex.
Well, I mean, I have no objection there or anything, but I keep thinking about, well, what about the part-time people in animal shelter? Can't they
That's
go
another
the same
story.
thing?
Stay focused here, come on, let me get moving. I know you're going with that. So, motion would be to push this personnel and move him to a casual employee with
Part-time. No,
Like
he's still part-time.
non-benefit eligible, casual employee.
whatever she does.
Part-time.
So moving from part-time to a casual employee with non-eligible.
Yep, and then I'll work with, BG to get that changed.
Okay, so that would be my motion. Anybody wanna fill that motion?
Make that motion for him to go from part-time to casual, and just send it to, I don't know, personnel.
favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Man, it feels like we're dragging our feet today. I don't know why. All the rain from yesterday. Fairgrounds report, approval of the overage sound installation bill for sound system and multi-building.
Oh, sorry. So the sound installation, we approved in April, $20,407.38. The bill came in, $2,555.67 over, because the fair changed from 2 handhelds to 1 handheld and 2 earpiece wireless mics. And then there was, labor of cross bracing and putting up the speakers, so, but in working with them, they did reduce the price, by $600, so, but I know that I can include that as a donation, but still, the entire expense is $2,555.67. But the actual amount would be, less than that, so I can't pay the bill because the minutes don't reflect the exact amount, so.
So how much do you want me to put in here?
Approve $22,963.05.
From the fair budget?
Yes,
Everybody.
Yep.
No, that's the county, right?
Correct.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve the $22,963.05?
I did that for because it's not
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wybeck, is there a second? Second by Mr. Goods, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries for $22,963 on the bills. Number 2, approval electric for the bandstand.
Alright, it's completed, John was called, we needed to have a commercial electrician do the work, and next month you'll see a couple more bills. But the estimated dollars was $6,000 to the electric just on the bandstand. The fair had no idea that, we would have this cost, otherwise we would have done the bids and all of that. We thought this was gonna be a cheaper project, but, and the reason it is so high is that, it's open, so everything has to be weatherproofed and, all of that, so, they estimated 5 days, they were only down there 3.5, so I do not have the bill yet, but the initial quote was $6,000. So there was additional electric, for the multi-purpose building and for the watering hole, which was up to $3,500. Those are inside buildings, so when we got that 6,000 quote, we're like, what, you did 2 buildings for $3,500? And it's just simply because it's out in the elements all year round, so.
Commercial grade.
It's commercial grade.
Commercial grade underground.
Yep, and there's a panel right next to it, so they were able to dig underground. So I did not think to put the other electrical stuff on the agenda, so, but this one is up to 6,000, so if you just do up to 6,000, I know it'll be less than that, then I can pay that bill.
Fair board budget again?
Yes,
Is there a motion to approve up to $6,000 for the bandstand on the fair board budget? Motion by Mr. Goodes, is there a second? Second by Mr. Hanson, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay, airport, review and approve 2025 airport leases and rates.
Shar, do you mind if I switch with you again?
please.
Okay, so not much lease. Except for this red highlighted area, and Rich and I put this together last week. So legislation was passed regarding personal property tax on, so we need to change, how our lease reads, so it's clear that any personal property tax assessed to the county because we own this land will be invoiced to the lessee. Otherwise, with the change in legislation, the lessor would be responsible for that tax. And we do have a couple tenants that are assessed this tax. It's anywhere from like $63 a year to $100 some a year, depending on what property is on our land. So we need approval to add this into the lease, otherwise, again, the county will become responsible for that tax bill. Okay, has everyone had a chance to read it?
So this is an exception to the getting rid of all the personal property taxes.
Yes. Yep, so we can still legally assess that to the lessee, we just need to make that clear in the lease. Okay. Okay.
Motion to take that out, right?
A motion to add this in, to add 12 in, yep. And then Jamie and I also worked on an increase, a 5% increase. So the last time we increased rents was in 2023, so 23 and 24 rents stayed the same. And that's those numbers up there. And we are proposing a 5% increase for 2025.
Are all the hangars rented?
All but one, yeah.
Are these all on a calendar year now?
Yes, we got that done in 23, yeah.
I would just, on this, I would take off last year's, some people paid last year's amount, and then we had to get additional.
Oh, okay.
So when those go out, we could do just a letter, explaining, number 12, and that, these are the rates this year. Cause yeah, there was
Right.
2 or 3 of them that saw the old amount, that's what was in their checkbook last year, and they just did the same.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Just for comparison purposes, it's a 5% increase is what we're asking for.
I don't own a plane, so I don't know one way or another if that's good or bad. I have other hobbies.
Well, like Shar just presented the airport budget, there's stuff that we'd like to get done out there, and increasing, rents helps with that, so.
Don't get me started. Some other areas we can increase rents. But we're so
Yeah,
worried
but I
about the
didn't-
airport, 5%.
But it would be the same language and the same.
Anyways, okay, is there any more discussion about raising the rate and, adding the paragraph in?
And omitting the prior,
Yep, I'll delete that.
Charmaine said.
If not, we can, need a motion to put this in and do rates of 2025.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Ludwig, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hanson, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Approval of the crack seal bond.
Okay, so, I did share this with court counsel, and he is fine, so if you approve it, John can sign it, but, this is the 14,500, that I was talking about earlier. This is just the bond agreement. I do have up, if you wanna actually see the project, otherwise, just need approval to approve it.
That's just, the crack seal.
Yep.
Runway, right?
Yep.
Is this both runways?
No, just the main one.
Yep, the,
Well, now
Yeah.
we're back to rates again.
Yeah. that one.
Some airports do charge like a landing fee,
Yep.
or if there's a fancier word for it, but.
You should've given us this first, and then we should've discussed rates.
How much?
$14,500. I will not get that bill until they complete the project.
We're looking to do that this year, right?
Yes.
Seems to be bumpy out there.
Jamie can provide a wonderful explanation.
Okay, so each year we set aside $7,500 for airport improvement projects, and so the airport director works with the people at the DOT to figure out, this is our airport capital improvements. We have like a 5% responsibility on these approved improvements, so our portion, our 5% of this project is 14,500, but that money has already been set aside for it, so it's not additional levy. For a while, we were sending that $7,500 to the state each year, and then when Andy was leaving, they said, you don't have to send us that money, you just have to have it set aside, so that we will invoice you for those. So we're still trying to get some of those old balances cleaned up, because it's hard to know exactly what's sitting out there with the DOT. But, that $7,500 is set aside each year, so this $14,500 is just coming out of the balances that we have.
Oh, so it doesn't hurt us either way.
No, it's really a huge benefit to us, because we're only paying 5% of that total cost.
So there might be more money that we've already sent to the state that we can get back for this.
Yep, and we do have that reconciled now. We had a lot of back and forth with, that I'm trying to understand, because our purposes of tracking here are very different. When they get the money on their end, they have to assign it to a specific project, which has kind of complicated things more when we did send the money to them. So I think it'll be cleaner going forward, but.
So we could get some money back from them?
Or they'll just they'll reallocate it to a different project, like.
Yeah.
Or just put it against the 14?
Yeah, so they might already have some money that they have there that they could reallocate. It's assigned to projects on their end, but if this project is closed out, they reallocate that money to a different project, so. You might not actually have to pay out that $14,500.
This is gonna get done this year, or they're working on it now, I mean, they're gonna run out.
Well, they're not doing it now, but they're
Yeah,
waiting for this
That's why I
to
kind of,
schedule it.
this is, I had kind of updated that, because when we found out it was gonna be in 2024, the original request, and there was 14,000 for 2025, but I changed that to 7,500, because it should just be our annual allocations, which is what happened this year.
Does that go in a non-lapsing fund here?
Right on the bottom there.
On the bottom, okay, that is a non-lapsing fund.
Yep.
Any other questions?
We can't do any crack sealing at all, huh?
Our highway department?
I think this has to be, it's, what do you call it, like white sheet job, where, Davis-Bacon laws and all that applies, so it has to.
Who actually takes the bids on this? We do, or?
The state handbook.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
it's
state.
state regulated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
I think they bid it out for like multiple airports at once, so like
Right, that's
something
why we-
that.
so the state takes care of that, we really don't have a hand in it. Okay, that answers the question.
I guess that whole project is pretty big,
Mm-hmm.
couple $100,000.
I don't know the plane, so. Okay, so is there a motion to approve this? Motion by Mr. Goodes. Second by Mr. Whitewick to approve the crack seal bond. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Review 2025 budget, we can do that, right? The airport? So we don't have to do that, right? Insurance, county cars and central services. Review of the insurance claim for county car usage, which
Yes, and let me know if you have questions, but, I was made aware last week that those two highlighted vehicles will be coming out of the sheriff's department, and so they had asked what we would like to do with them. So I did, I talked to the, zoning department, and they would like the Durango they had on their capital improvements to replace the Equinox, so this would replace that Equinox. It's gonna take, several weeks, cause I had to order municipal plates for it, so, I can put it on the agenda for next week to approve the sale of that Equinox, but then, looking for guidance on what we want to do with that other one, or, you know, if you even approves transferring that Durango to the zoning department. The Durango is, a civilian model, so it's got the center console and everything in there. That Explorer does not, so it's not gonna be a real nice cushy ride because it's gonna be missing that console in the middle. It's the squad model.
What's the question?
So if you guys would allow that Durango just to be transferred to the zoning department, and if, we should keep the Explorer or look at maybe selling a different vehicle that's in the fleet to trade that out.
That Explorer be auctioned off, you mean?
It could be, yeah.
Cause nobody wants it.
Well, so I didn't check with, I checked, the only department I checked with was, the zoning department, because they had on their capital improvements that they wanted a new vehicle in 2025, so this would take care of that. And they prefer that Durango over the Explorer. And then, you know, none of the other departments really had vehicle needs on there. There was a truck for the land conservation, but they would really like a pickup truck. So I said we would, you know, keep it in mind as, pickup trucks become available. And then as far as the fleet, the ones that are labeled fleet, those are the ones that are kind of in the rental pool, where people can sign those out to take to conferences, to home visits, to other site visits, that kind of thing. What'd you say?
I just looking to see how many miles.
Oh, and so that B60 at the Explorer, that was a, you know, road deputy vehicle, so it does have a lot of idle hours on it. But it's my understanding that it's in good condition otherwise.
I think you should ask the other departments.
But, yeah, what departments are you thinking?
I don't know, anybody, ask anybody.
Ashley,
How
do you want
many highways do we got?
for your department?
Well, cause like I don't think it's gonna work for forestry because they need pickup trucks, it's not gonna work for maintenance, they need pickup trucks. Highway needs pickup trucks, I think Jamie's asked all the relevant departments,
So-
I thought you just said you didn't ask any other department.
Well,
because it wouldn't work for them, they're just
Okay,
gonna
but
say
then
no.
you said you asked all the departments, but you didn't ask all the departments, okay?
well, do you want more vehicles to be, there's other parts that might say, oh, sure, we'll take it, but do you want vehicles to be assigned to individual departments, or would you rather have it be in the fleet where it's available for anyone to use when they need it?
To me, it makes no difference, I'm just throwing shit out there to see what sticks. If it doesn't work, then throw the damn thing down the road, I don't care.
Well, you wanna keep it in the fleet though, right, so we get the,
That's what I'm asking, if there's a vehicle that you guys think should be sold to trade it out, or adding just another vehicle into the
Well, the
fleet.
vehicles that do need to be sold and replaced are out at the highway, so we can't go down that road. Really, it's no good.
Well, but you know, if people go on, meetings and things with more than one person, it's much nicer to ride an Explorer than an Impala. So maybe you'll get more combined usage if you have a vehicle.
Who's in the fleet, is that what we're saying then?
Right, but
Get rid of one of your
Jamie's
fleet.
asking, is there an older car that we want to auction to bring the Durango in?
How do you want me to
They're
answer
the
that?
Explorer, or the Explorer,
I
sorry.
don't even know how to answer that myself, because I don't even know what cars we have in the fleet.
It's right
I
here,
get
right
what-
there.
I see what's there, but I don't know what they look like, I don't know what they run like, this here's just numbers.
Could you go off the highest mileage?
Yeah, or the
Highest
oldest.
mileage
yeah.
doesn't mean nothing either, really.
you were saying.
I'm
that
just
you-
gonna sit out of this one, because you know what, apparently, nobody understands what I'm trying to say, is we wanna get rid of vehicles, but I'm supposed to know exactly what I'm looking at, because it's on a piece of paper. What's the crappiest, shittiest looking car we got in the fleet then? You all know? Have you seen them?
Yeah, they're out there, but.
Right, they're out there, but have we seen them? So you're asking me to.
Are you asking?
You're asking me to say.
I know, but are you asking like to the naked eye, like which one has rust on it? Cause rust doesn't mean the transmission is crap. Like, you wanna make, do you wanna make?
So I believe,
You guys can't
the
pass this out. I don't-
car that you're describing is currently at the airport. We could switch it out with that one, that is a
Sure.
monthly card.
I will bring that next month to approve selling the Equinox and whichever vehicle is out at the airport.
Well, I thought you had said something about if it was in the fleet and other people could use it, Impala was not as good as.
I did.
So maybe that one.
I still think that'd be the better route, but, if you
What's out at the
wanna
airport?
base it off the
airport.
not nicest vehicle, that's at the airport.
You take one of the ones, the good ones out here, you take one of the ones that are here and put out the
Yes, we could
Impala out
switch
there
that,
at the
yep.
airport, and keep the Explorer in here. It's not that hard to shuffle it
So,
around.
Yep. So now they wanna take out the Mocha, but one of our other fleet ones at airport and have the Explorer in the fleet.
Sure,
Okay, there we go.
simple enough.
Do you want me to put that, it says, Jamie, do you want that written someplace? I have the other one.
I think I need to put it on the agenda for next month, cause I
Okay.
didn't actually put like, you know, I didn't have this information until after, the agenda had gone out.
Okay, so you don't want the Durango either on there? The motion for Durango. Let's go to-
I don't think they necessarily, I mean, it's still within the fleet, it's just getting reassigned to a different department, I just wanted to.
Okay. Wanna make sure it's in there, if it needs to be.
Are we good on this one? Okay, moving on. IT. Well, IT says sound system in the LEC. I'm gonna
I
ask,
know nothing about
wait a
it.
minute, I know all about this because I put it on there. Aaron, can you hear us back there?
Just so much
Much clearer? Is it much clearer? Is it louder back there?
than normal.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot, I don't think.
That's what I wanna know, because they supposedly come in and did some stuff with it, so I wanna know if it's more clear back there in order for anybody in the general public to hear us. And it's about the same, you think?
Well, it's a little bit better because the system is on than when it's not on, but I don't feel it's a lot better than last week, if that's what you're asking.
Right. Okay.
Now, I sound louder when I'm talking right now.
I can actually hear you out through the speakers now.
Right, so I'm very loud talking, but you don't sound like that as a group. Not just you, John, everyone, that was general.
Okay, so I put this on here because this is an issue with the general public in general. Nobody can hear us back there sitting in them seats. So we need to get rid of this piece of junk, or reevaluate this piece of junk, or get this thing figured out so everybody can hear us.
So, I had looked into with the pads with that system I use for county board, that you can actually attach a microphone to that. So when you push your button and then you push a button, like when they're gonna speak or when
Oh.
it opens up that mic to this.
To where it would translate through all the speakers.
But everybody's gotta have a microphone then, or
Well,
share
No, everybody would have a microphone, so it's something that would open up. It is a microphone, and the gal that takes care of the open meeting stuff said that when that button's pushed, it'll cue that mic, you know, when you're speaking, when it flashes red, that it'll open only your mic up. Not everybody's, just yours, the one that is speaking.
It'll be on that little pad.
It somehow hooks up. I can't tell you how, but I do know of it.
We have that at other meetings where they have the gooseneck thing and you share it and you have to push the button and a red light comes on, then you talk and everybody
no
can hear
sharing.
you on that.
There's no sharing.
Well, but
But that
you've got
system-
one for each one.
Okay,
Right,
so
the system would open it, not.
It's probably a microphone that's built right into your pad, I'm guessing.
I'm not sure, I'd have to talk to her and get some more insight. She kinda gave me some of the stuff and I gave it to IT to run with it, but they haven't done anything, so I guess if I need to look further into it, I sure can.
It's something that needs to be looked into, and we're gonna have to address it, because the general public cannot hear us sitting back there in them seats.
Okay.
And it's not just them either. I sit in that chair there, I have a hard time hearing him back here. Or him back here, you know, Mr. Goodis, or, you know, the low tone voices, I can't even hear sitting in that seat up there.
So it wouldn't be at this table, that would be a problem, but maybe we could do something that is a shared mic, maybe at the table, like one of those, Shar, you know what I'm talking about, one of those things that sit at the table
Oh.
and you
The teleconferencing
can,
things?
kinda like that would go into this, I don't know.
Oh, we used to have a hockey puck and that was horrible.
Well, I'm not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not pointing no fingers at anybody that we should know what we're doing here, but
Well, I was just.
this was put in before I was here, so I don't know nothing about it.
Can I recommend that we maybe use a company that deals with sound systems to look at it, because when we have issues with like trying to video conference with people,
Right.
we have a lot of feedback. And so if we just start adding more microphones, that might solve one problem, but create another one.
Correct, that's what I'm saying, okay, we're gonna spitball here to try and figure out where we need to go with this. And I agree with you, we need somebody that knows the sound systems, because the feedback through there is terrible.
Well, last night Alicia couldn't hear, when you guys were talking as board members to Alicia on there, she couldn't hear anybody unless me or Ashley spoke really loud at her, and you could hear her even going like, you know, leaning down. So I don't know how it is when we video the county board meetings, if the members that are videoing in can hear or not.
So maybe what we should do is get the open meetings with Sound and Logic and see if,
Or audio architects.
yeah, whatever.
I was gonna ask if you were gonna use audio.
Well, that's who Neil said that they were here, and
they-
as what Jamie said, he said they boosted the volume as high as they could, but we're right on the edge of where we start to get unpleasant feedback.
Right.
He's interested in hearing how the next few meetings in that room go, and if there's anything that we need to pass on to him, just let Neil know.
Okay, and
So
I'm sorry to say, but the person in the back of that room, not specifically pointing at you, Aaron, but the people in the back of that room, that's the people that can't hear us, just in general, but myself included here and up here. So whatever they did didn't really change anything.
They used to be mics.
Because we just got our feedback from. the
So then
tech.
someone needs to share that with Neil.
Well, I will, I don't care, something's gotta be done.
I think you
But I think you
gotta
need to
try
give
it.
him more of a directive. What's the budget for this?
How much is it gonna cost? And try it, I mean, we're just a few people in here right now, but, I mean, I can hear an echo in here now,
Cause we're sitting right under it.
Right, speaker
but
for them.
I think, you know, at the next board meeting or something to see if there's a change back there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's different with bodies don't absorb
Isn't it better when they
sound.
sit on the outside
Yeah, yeah.
versus sit in the middle?
One,
Go ahead, speak.
Okay, I don't think anyone
You
is
got a voice
disagreeing,
that
Ashley,
carries.
but
we
I
can
don't
always hear
think there's
Ashley. We can always
anything,
hear the girls.
no one is disagreeing with the fact that we have audio problems in here. But if you keep telling Neil, fix it, what does that mean? I
Fix
think
it, he's an
that's-
IT guy, give me somewhere, he has the, he has
He's
the.
not sitting in any meetings.
Right,
Well, then
he's
why
not-
isn't he? Bring him down here, let
Okay,
him
but-
sit in the meeting.
It's a third party who installed this system, so if you guys wanna fix this, right here and now, say 50 grand from contingency, fix this. That's where Neil is struggling, because you guys aren't being,
We are being
people need a
directive
clear
in that.
directive so they know exactly what they're
They
doing.
need to know they have the money.
Well, it's audio architect's the right firm to do it too.
Right, and that's, I don't
You
know.
have them on some other things too, and there seems to be.
Okay, so if he was to throw out a number of what we could play with. You're looking at me like, don't even-
That's not Jamie's budget, I mean, that's not really the finance director's,
Okay, so where would it come out of? What budget would it come out of? If we decided to like throw out a number to play with this and get it fixed?
well, I think,
What would
Your
it have?
equipment fund.
right,
Agency fund?
I think it is a lot worse just to note when you guys are sitting in the middle too. It doesn't, it's like it doesn't pick up as well when you guys are in the middle versus when we're on the outside. I think they have said that, right?
It works better in the middle.
No, it doesn't work as good in the middle. When you guys are sitting in the middle, they have a much harder time hearing versus when everybody's sitting on the outside. And I can even
I
tell,
can hear you.
yeah, I have a pretty loud voice.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Or maybe more of those.
Well, I'm wondering if it almost shoots out more instead of, and it's not picking up
I know.
right below it. Cause even when I first walked in the room and I'm sitting here, John, I could barely hear you.
I don't know, I'm being pretty brace-ish this morning. Everybody's in here, how do I?
For what?
I have to use the restroom and I can't go because the lights are going.
Just take a little break.
I need a 2-minute break. I gotta go to the bathroom. Or a vice chair ain't here, so I can't hand it off. The vice chair ain't here.
Sorry.
Come here, where's coffee?
We're talking about the sound system bugs. Do you know what they all did when they came in?
Yeah, they tested it and tried moving it around. They can't up it anymore, otherwise they start just getting loud feedback on it. See, that was, we dealt with Seth from Audio Architects. Neil had sent out the email on it on the July 26th.
Yeah, I think that's what I actually read.
Those audio architects, the ones that installed the system.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Is that the only mics then? They all come from right here?
Well,
I'm just curious.
yeah, so,
Alright, but I'm just,
so the way it is there's
so County of Rusk.
that square right there. Working. There's several microphones in that, and so what they do is they pick up wherever the audio is coming from. And the camera, when we've got it turned on, is set to follow the audio. It was moving too much, and that's another reason we had Seth here too. Is it had a 3-second delay, so like if I was talking for at least 3 seconds, it would start turning towards me. But it was doing a lot of, going around. Yeah, so we had them readjust that, so that we won't have so much going around motion sickness really. I know what it comes down to. So that, is one of the things they looked at. But we had Seth run through, the microphones and stuff, and anytime they put it up a little bit, we just start getting all that feedback and stuff. And so, we've got the microphones over here, and, we've got speakers throughout. So anything that's going into those microphones, coming out of the speakers, is at its maximum level right now. Because if you put it any higher to help, those kind of almost in the middle or maybe all the way back, then the volume for all these guys is too high, and it starts feeding back into the same microphones that you're trying to enhance or trying to make louder. And so, yeah, they did it just a tad bit, but there wasn't much he could do with that. He had asked for a couple different ideas and things like that, but I don't know.
How much did this system cost?
Honestly, I don't know. We weren't part of that project. That was an Andy project.
Was this bought with ARPA funds? The system?
I don't know.
I think it was.
Yeah, that was an Andy thing. He was called in until after it was already ready.
Well, I guess I don't wanna leave the funds just sit here hanging. I don't know what you guys think. What your train of thoughts are. Push it in, give them a dollar amount or somebody to look into either microphones or something.
mean, what do you guys want specifically? Maybe we need to look at a different company instead.
And I think we probably may have to, Jim. The thing of it is when I sit up there, I can barely hear these back three chairs.
Okay.
Or the general public back there can't hear us at all, 99.1% of the time.
Okay.
Am I correct on saying that? So we need to figure out how to get everybody heard in this room comfortably. But, you know, everybody's second guessing everybody, you know. I mean, the other meeting with Mr. like Willingham, for instance, I'll use him, and I'm not trying to throw him under anybody under the bus, but we were having a conversation and we actually misinterpreted each other on what we were even talking about.
Okay.
So I couldn't hear him, he couldn't hear me.
Okay. Okay.
The cost of it was $39,354.57.
39,000 what?
$39,354.57.
There was another invoice too, so I about 5,000 to it,
2020.
40,000,
so about 45.
5-ish.
Cause there was another, oh wait, that was courtroom, never mind, yeah. So about 40.
Okay, so it's just 40?
Yeah.
Not that second.
Well, and then we did get a credit, so it ended up being closer to 32. There was a credit back, I'm not sure why exactly, but.
Actually, that one I know, cause Andy had ordered another television and they were unable to get that. So that was that difference.
So can we look into this and
Sure.
about looking into different companies or doing something that can bring it back to us next month?
What kind of ideas, I mean, do you guys want? I know, you know, when I've been talking to Connie before about it, you know, like microphones set up at each one like it used to be was one idea. Another one was doing like, you know, little lapel, microphones. You know, what do you guys want? Or what do you think would work best? I mean, whether it's other counties you've seen, other meetings you've been in, you know, jobs, past jobs, whatever. Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. I'm assuming, you know, it's just, this room is hard to get cabling in because of the concrete floor and everything like that. And so, I know when we talk to RU Architects, they talk about wireless, but, wired is always more reliable than wireless is. But, that's why I wanted to know, you know, what you guys kind of thinking. I mean, I'm guessing not everyone wants to come in and, you know, hook a lapel onto them and stuff like that and put a little receiver either on the table or in their pocket or, you know, whatever, or, not receiver, transmitter. You know, so I'm open for whatever ideas, otherwise I'll just start digging and seeing what, you know, the general consensus is for other counties and whatnot.
The microphones are kind of the answer. I know you don't like those.
Well, the ones I'm used to, you know, they have two people share or whatever, or three, depending on how many microphones. So you got this gooseneck thing, then you shove it down there, and then they have to push the button when they speak, and kind of clutters everything up. And then they forget to do it, so then if someone says, push the button, you know, it's.
Kinda sounds like they have something, and I talked to them once before, I just can't remember all of it.
We did, if I remember right, they were even talking about where they run the meetings.
Yep. Well, that's a whole
They had somebody
different
down in Texas, I believe, that would run the meeting and shut it off and everything, yeah. That was during one of those presentations.
That's Granicus.
Okay.
They would run the whole thing and you would hear and record.
So is it fair enough just to say, look into it and bring it back to us next month? I don't know which way to go with it, Jim, because.
We'll give you guys a couple options and then you guys let me know what you're thinking.
You know, you get other companies, you know, like bids or something to, you know, up there, include our audio, but, you know, cause obviously that didn't work. But I can hear it's really booming in here now.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like almost, you know, if you use the curtain divider there, I mean, over here, we can hear just fine. I mean, cause we've got the microphones right there, we can hear it down. Aaron so much, probably can't hear as well back there, except for some of us louder people, you know, but, yeah, I mean, we can reach out to other companies, we can see other solutions. There's nothing that says we have to do this.
Okay, so look into that.
Okay.
And I don't wanna kick this can down the road 6 months.
Okay. I'll bring something back next month.
Just bring some ideas.
Or when is next month's meeting? Or you guys haven't got to
I
that?
haven't got to that far yet.
Okay.
Feels like we're dragging our feet this morning.
Okay.
Alright, you all good with that? And I feel like I'm yelling, I really do, and people still can't hear me.
I mean, like right now, I can hear you absolutely fine. Aaron, can you hear me or no?
I could hear him, but he's quiet.
He's
When he
faint.
was turned the other way, you can
Yeah.
tell he's not picked up on the microphone at all. You along that edge is loud, and you all have loud voices. So right now the system's on, I think the system is sounding louder. I can tell a difference. But when they're congregated to the center talking to themselves, the microphone is not picking them up at the table. It picks the outside people up, and I think it is sounding different right now.
Okay. So,
Stay on the outside.
So at the
Well, so
beginning of the
during
meeting,
normal-
I never heard a difference at all when this was on with at the rest of the meeting for the table, for surely not.
Okay,
Now, like, considering it, yes, on the outside sounds completely different.
okay. So the county board meetings would be okay with the normal people out here, it's just these.
Potentially, I would say go another meeting, like a full board meeting, and
Yeah.
see what the full board meeting sounds like with this change.
Okay.
I think part of the problem is, if you give me my 2 cents, John,
Yeah.
you guys don't turn the system on. Okay? You have your meetings, you have your committee meetings, and you don't turn the system on. The system is only on when you wanna hook your computers up. So the system's not on, so we can't hear. That's the problem. So if you turn your system on, we could go a month or 2 and see what these changes did. I'm willing to do that.
Fair enough.
But you need to turn your system on at your committee meetings. And we can
And-
see,
and-
and we could save the taxpayers a lot of money and see if
Yeah.
it works.
And that's not their fault at all, as far as that piece goes. That would be more of something we'll deal with as far as, like you said, exactly, when you plug in, it automatically kicks it on, it goes through each step, you know, and systematically turns it on. If they just sit here and have a meeting, unless they are specifically going to that, plug in some type of audio source into it, it doesn't kick on. So that's something we'll work on too as well, is to give you guys the option to manually turn that on, you know, using the control pad there too.
But I think we should go a couple more meetings and at least a full board meeting with all of us on the outside to see how it translates back there too.
But John is still hard to hear himself at the table, so I would still consider what the table sounds like, even with the system
Picking
on.
on me today, huh?
The inner is the issue.
You talk quiet.
Yeah, they said it's a lot harder to hear.
But I feel like I'm screaming.
I know. Thank you.
Alright,
Okay.
good info, good feedback, so what you think is what you can.
We'll get some solutions.
Just see if we can come up with some kind of solution.
Sure.
Okay, number B, IT department update and report.
Chugging along, trying to finish off a lot of the projects and whatnot. You know, as we push forward into just trying to keep everything up and running. I think most departments have been really good. If they're having any issues at all, letting us know. We've been having some printer issues, especially with the ADRC. I believe that is getting changed out tomorrow. Or Thursday, don't quote me on that, it's either Wednesday or Thursday. But they'll be here to take care of that. Also the one in the IT department is having issues as well. I think they'll be looking at that at the same day. Otherwise, like I said, we're just trying to keep things moving forward. You know, the guys have been doing, I think, a great job, especially trying to get anything that gets you know, called in or anything like that, hitting it right away. so they're not, letting it just sit there for a while. They're hitting it right away, and we encourage that, and the other thing I'd like them to do a little bit more maybe is just to document the actual tickets themselves, cause they receive a lot of calls just directly to their desk or directly to their cell phone and stuff like that, and sometimes it's easier just to go deal with the problem than it is to, document it. But other than that, like I said, we're just moving forward.
Okay, any questions, Jim, on that? C, credit card invoice entry policy and compliance.
Per your request, I had sent out that email, the following, I think Monday?
Yep.
When you guys wanted it, that following Monday, I sent out an email, and I think I sent another one that Wednesday as well. Okay, sent a lot of emails. Either way, that's caught up and taken care of.
There's just one missing, yeah.
Is there? Okay. I'd say, cause the purchase from yesterday, I haven't done that one yet. That's the only one that I'm aware of, but if
There's
you've
one
got
in
one.
like April, I looked this morning, that's still not entered in.
Which one is that?
Sorry, it's from May 18th for 3324.
Does it say like Amazon or anything, or
Yeah, Amazon.
was it 3324?
Yep.
May. What was it, May?
May 18th. It was the transaction date.
Okay. I guess I'm not familiar with what that is. I would like to say that is taken care of, but apparently not. So other than that one and the purchase from yesterday, those I guess would be the two that are still open. Otherwise, everything's been going in pretty quickly. Same thing too is if it goes to another department, it gets sent out within a few minutes of me ordering it. So shouldn't have that issue anymore. Should be taken care of. It shouldn't be an issue. I think we're on the right track.
Are we good on that one, Jamie?
Yeah, I the only one I'm seeing is just that one, so.
Anybody got any questions? Review of the 2025 proposed budget.
I guess I don't know if you guys wanna do that. So when we looked at the 2025 budget,
Do you wanna plug in, otherwise I have the one you emailed.
yeah, you can go ahead and do it, that's fine.
I found that invoice, it's a CFS one, so,
Oh, Child and Family Services?
yeah, Bailey Wireless KBN.
Okay. Okay, so I stick by it, as far as I go, we're caught up. Good. Double check. Ashley then. Alright. And so that's pretty small. I don't have great eyes, but. Alright, so this is our budget. I'm sure you guys have gone through, the budgets already. But as far as the one here for IT, a lot of times we look at it, one of the lines that I did increase would be line 216, which is IT support. I requested an additional $5,000 for that, and that is in regards to just licenses. That's what that IT support line is. Just the cost of licenses going up and everything like that. Whether it be email or any of the other ones, server licenses, anything that we use at all that way. The line below that, 225, I went down $100, but I'm guessing I could probably go down to about 2,000 on that one. Yeah, that one I'm not sure. Typically we're we're fine as far as that goes. But, the 26, I didn't think we needed. We went over 25 back in 23, as you can see. But I think this year will be right around the 2,000 mark when we're done. Insurance claims, hopefully none. Keep that at 0. The repair continued with what we had, $3,000. Kept that straight across. No increase, no decrease there. Go down to postage. I went from 150 on that down to 100. And the only reason is if we have to return something at our cost as far as postage goes. Otherwise, we don't typically mail stuff as far as the IT department goes. Right below that, central duplicating. We had that at 150. We went down to 100 on that one. Hopefully, I'd like to get it lower than that. As you can see, like through the first 6 months, we've only got $2.68 worth of printing and copying and everything. We try to be as paperless as possible. So that's kind of where we're aiming there. Let me see, office supplies. Office supplies we stayed status quo at 2,000. That seems to be about where we're coming out each year. I know 2003 was a bit more, but typically 2000s around where we feel comfortable. Travel. IT travel and IT training kind of go hand in hand, these two lines, 332 and 339. And so I'd like to encourage the guys to get as much training as possible. We don't typically have enough time to do that. And so that will make those numbers fluctuate. And so far this year, we've spent $113. 2,000, that's allowed it there. That's just all the time we've had. That was actually for a broadband conference. I'd like to get them back into it, or even use a online version of training, like IT TV Pro or something like that, where they could log in instead and get training on whatever area or module or anything like that they want training on. And then that would also save us some travel costs as well. IT equipment, line 340. Equipment under $5,000. That one, we stayed at the status quo about 5,000. That one fluctuates what it gets used for. Sometimes it's, different things. As far as if we have a surprise piece of equipment that goes down that we need to get, whether it's a laptop, for a department or something like that, and maybe they don't have it budgeted, and we try to help out. But otherwise, that seems to be pretty consistent for the last couple of years. And line 611 and 621 might be better explained by Jamie. I'm not positive on those ones.
Yeah, that's the subscription-based software agreements, and so we just got one, I think, yesterday, so we have to analyze those to determine, so it would really just reallocate amounts from the IT support to the subscription expense and interest expense.
So line 611 and 621 would share with 216?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I guess I don't know how that's supposed to be on this sheet. I put it, I guess, all under IT support, and then as they're classified according to how Jamie needs them done, they may, I guess, move into 611 or 621, throughout the year. And then at the bottom there, 810 is IT equipment, and then that, Jamie, I believe that's that revolving one, right?
Continuing appropriations, yes, so depending on what the needs are, that, you know, that 50,000 could change from year to year as far as whatever's left over, whatever doesn't get spent would carry forward in the fund balance for future purchases, just for that line.
Cause for the, you know, column G there, on line 33, which is that IT equipment one there, I put down that we would be using the whole 50,000 because it is a revolving fund, so, you know, whatever is there would continue into the next year. And that was the budget line that Jamie had helped set up so that, every 5 years I don't have to come to you guys and say, hey, I need a buttload of money to rebuild the network. We'll already have it and we'll be ready, and prepared, you know, with the financial aspect of it, so that way it's not such a big one-time hit, it's more consistent.
Do you wanna cover the, proposed regrading of the positions in addition of another position?
That was actually gonna be my question, how we
Yep.
went from one extreme to the other.
Okay, so if we go up and we look at 111, which would be the IT director. What we did is we looked at some of the other JDQs from surrounding counties. And we're substantially off the mark for all of them in the IT department. And so with the breakdown that wanted to see about redoing a JDQ to see the actual job that's being done versus the one that appears on here. With that aspect in mind, looking at it, this is what I thought the numbers would come out a little more too. So if you look, there's a substantial jump there. To the right, under memos, I've got where just to the right.
Oh, I'm just
Yeah, right there. That's where I see it coming out at. And so most IT directors are gonna be a step 20, or I'm sorry, grade 20. And I just did step 1 at the beginning. Same thing too with the specialist 2, specialist 1, and the IT tech / sheriff's lasso. And I'll explain that in a minute here too. But right now, both Neil and I would be considered red circled, or I wasn't red circled, but based off of the, you guys gave longevity and also a raise at the beginning of the month. And that actually comes out to 0 for me, even though I have over 23 years here at Rusk County. And that's just based on that Carlson Detman grade, and everything like that. So that's what they come out to be. I've got both of the guys making new JDQs. And actually I've got Walt's back already. I got it last night. I did not get a chance to read through it. But I will be looking at it and comparing it to the other ones that we received from, what else did we receive? Barron, Washburn, Bayfield, Sawyer, Price, and Burnett. All these counties are kind of working together to be more opaque with what's going on. And so we've got all their numbers and all their grades as far as that goes as well. Up in Washburn, Tom is the IT director there. He's lost 2 people last year, and they both left. One went to the Washburn School District, he had another one that went to Cumberland for a job, and they went from, working for those guys, either at $23.98 or $28.74 to $75,000 a year. That's just the going cost. Jim over in Burnett, he says he's looking at an increase in his, if he goes to different classification. By that I mean, drops the director part and just becomes an employee, a non-salaried. Same thing too is, like I said, we've got both Neil and I, Neil's actually red circled, I'm not, but I can't move anywhere because it's such a low grade. And so Neil also has 7 years with Rusk County here. And so those guys need to be moved to something more appropriate as well. Otherwise we will not be able to retain them. Speaking with Tom up in Washburn, he advised that he's worried about not being able to keep staff at the rates that they're paying there as well. But, I mean, that's a concern with every department. I mean, Sheriff's Department just gave you guys a presentation on that as well, you know, for their guys.
Question.
Sure.
Is the budget appropriate to be doing that with? I mean, if you're requesting reclasses, isn't that a separate step?
It would be, but as probably being the committee that I talk to and get guidance from, I want their input and their thoughts on it. But when I was asked to put the budget together, these are part of it. Now, if it goes through, great. If it doesn't go through, okay. But when Jamie's got to throw all these budgets together and try to make them work, I want to have everything there that she would need. And it's always much easier to, you know, remove the money there than it is to add it later on. And so that's kind of the way I looked at it.
So, in short form is, these are significantly jumps on the grade.
Yes.
I don't know how to say this, but no offense, all due respect, but it makes you think you guys are better than anybody else around here.
I don't think it's a matter of being better than anyone.
Well, you're taking yourself from a lower grade and put yourself right to the top saying, here I am, and I'm worth this, and that's just the way it is.
I guess I don't look at the scale and saying, okay, who's a better person? It's based on just the job itself.
Well, I know what I'm worth too, Jim, and I don't get paid what I'm worth.
I'm sure that's probably true. I think most people
That's
feel that way.
100% true, being self-employed. So, I have a hard time with wages. I have a hard time giving somebody a wage increase when they come and throw it in my face and say, this is what it is and this is what it should be. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I see it.
I hope you don't see it that way, because that's not what
Everybody in
we're doing.
this place worth the money they get paid? Absolutely. And then some? Absolutely. But we are a small county. We have budgets to maintain, but
Absolutely.
them numbers, holy mackerel, that's a significant increase. I don't know where you think we're gonna come up with that.
I don't know.
And I just don't think that's fair to throw that out there when everybody else is worth this much around here.
Well, wouldn't you guys rather that I talk to you guys about it?
Yes, I agree, and I respect the fact that you're coming and talking to us. I have a hard time with it, knowing where I come from and how I do things. You know, I'm not saying you're not worth anything less.
No, and I don't mean to belittle anyone, the employees here at all. This is just the numbers that I have seen that's consistent. You know, with not only the other counties in the area, but it's
gonna be tough to compete with the other companies.
Jim, if I can speak into, I did a comparison of all of our wages of every single line that we have with all of those counties that you're speaking of, and every single department would come in way higher, so I guess I just want a clarification question really quick. When we do budgets, because this is my first time budgeting with the county, what do we do for wages? Because I was under the impression that we left the wages as is in the budget and then the board decides them. So I guess just in general, I just have a question overall, because I've had a lot of department heads ask me.
That's the guidance that was provided as well.
Because I've had different departments ask me like, hey, can I put raises in my budget? And I told them to talk to you, Jamie, in finance, but I've said, as far as I've been known, is that we keep them the same there, and then that's a different discussion.
Yep, and so that's correct.
Okay.
We don't, it's not up to the department heads at all. That's up to the board members if there's any changes in raises at all. You know, it could be zero, it could be a penny, whatever, you know, it is. That's up to them, that's not up to us. So the one that you're seeing presented there is my version of it. Now, on the, with the other finance ones and stuff like that, it's not altered like that.
Okay.
So, like Jamie's got.
So this is just for property?
Yeah, and this is my, who I respond to, this is my board, it's who I ask for, guidance. So, that's why, you know, we're talking about a lot of this stuff. You know, and then I get their feedback and you know, we kind of go back and forth. At least I know what other people are thinking then, you know? Cause John's right, I'm sure everyone, all the employees think, hey, you know, I'm underpaid. I mean, you know, and I understand, you know, each one of us makes what we do and you know, I can't complain about that part. That's just what we're seeing with the other counties that are approximate with us.
We're seeing that across the board, every position we have.
And it makes me nervous when Tom's losing, you know, people that don't even have a year out of school yet, and they're getting hired at 75. You know, and it's just like, okay, because then my guys see that and hear that and see the ads and stuff like that, and they're like, well,
And I'm just making sure
shouldn't
that we're going through that, I mean, that's where our social workers are at, or, you know, that.
Oh, yeah,
we're doing
and
that, and
my
they're
opinion is they're
getting
way
hired.
underpaid.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a crap job. My opinion. I mean, but yeah, I completely understand what you're saying, John. But this is what I want to bring to your guys' attention. You know, if there's better solutions, if there's anything like that, I'm open. Please let me know.
So he should bring it, just not as part of the budget process.
Correct. Because the board is the one that decides the wages and where they go. Am I right or wrong? I'm saying?
Well, if he's gonna be reclassed, that would have to go through the personnel committee and Carlson Netman,
So,
and adding another position would also have to go through.
But as a department head, it's our job to stick up for our employees.
It is, and like I said, is maybe I presented this wrong, but I still want your guys' feedback on this. You know, if maybe I should have presented it a different way, okay?
Right, it should have gone through, you know, the approvals to create that position and regrade before.
So, I guess in short form, we can't send this to finance.
Personnel
With our back.
The JDQs that you're getting from, are we getting them a red line for Jim?
Which ones?
Like the ones that your staff are redoing, can you make sure that they do a red line for Jim or that?
They're just doing them blank from the start.
Okay, they need to edit their current ones, for our policy.
Your form of finance formula.
What they're doing right now is
And I did that on my birthday.
official, it's our
Yeah, but just so
policy.
we can bring them back one out and go.
Yeah,
forward
So
with that.
there's,
If we're gonna take
so
them
you
into
can
that.
do it with the top
Yeah.
portion like
I
that.
think they're on the, they have one.
So there's his, oh.
Keep up here.
That's a lot to take in right now, but.
Well, I think the best solution would be to put it back to what the rest of our budgets are, which is a formula. And then if you would like to request the IT department to come back next month with a proposal to look at regrading positions.
Which would be a issue on its own.
Right, at this point, they're separate.
So, I understand what you're doing there, Jim, but yeah, that probably shouldn't have been in there today.
Okay.
to throw this to the finance committee. I'm sorry, but I can't back that. And that's just me, that's just my opinion. There's 3 others here.
But could you, with the initial, what was proposed? So, this is what it was when all department heads received their budgets. These are the formulas right there. But then what Jim proposed is this. So would you approve moving the budget to finance with the initial rates and not these? So at least it can move along? And then next month he'll have on the agenda for the
I go that way.
classes.
Yeah.
Well, personnel's gonna have to approve all that stuff first anyhow.
Yep, well, it first comes to the oversight, then it would need to go to personnel, and then it ends up at the full board, because it would be changing, job descriptions.
Right, so I mean, it's a long process. Yeah, I would go along with what you just said, Shirley. I don't wanna sound like a prick about it, but I am kinda.
You know, you just got questions, that's all.
Well, I just.
Questions are good.
Yeah, questions are good, but I just don't wanna sound like, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What's everybody else thinking?
So basically what you're saying is, the rest of the budget's okay, but for personnel, it's gotta go back to the original
Or
finance.
finance? Right there.
Yeah, and then those weren't touched at all on that, the one she's got there. So the one you guys see was completely separate, it doesn't mess with any of their numbers, any of their formulas, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Tom, what do you guys think?
I don't know what to think. You know, your sheriff's department, they can't keep people, nobody can keep people because we pay less than anybody else. City's the same way, got the same issue.
I don't disagree with you, but we can't.
That's a separate issue outside of this budget though.
Right. So,
Well-
I mean,
It may be, but if you don't have anybody to do the work, why?
So I think the numbers gotta be changed back to all the other budgets we're doing as far as salaries go. Because then if there's an increase or something and the reclass or anything, that's a separate issue in a way, because that's gotta go through all the committee steps and everything else first.
That's why I said what I did, so the budget would at least go forward.
right, so
I
put
mean,
everything
you
back.
could approve what he presented if it passes, or you could approve it with the payroll as it was. I'm just concerned it moves forward.
Right, so you're saying we should pass it with the,
Do what you need to do, but move it forward.
How did you say that now?
No, she's saying she doesn't care what we do, but
I
just
know,
move
but-
it forward to
I
get
know
to
it's less
money.
moving forward, but if you move it forward.
You have two
that's what
options.
just
Well,
said.
you have three.
It's the same? Huh? What'd you say?
You have three options. You could move it forward to finance with the increases in there, or you could just not move it anywhere, or you can move it with everything but, it would be the initial rates as before.
Right, that's what you said the first time.
Right.
I agree with.
converting the budget to the,
For the salaries to the,
Salaries.
Right.
Remain the same.
presented, right.
keep it moving.
That would be the motion I'd entertain right now. Motion by Mr. Wedley,
Second.
second by Mr. Hanson. Any other questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Do we need anything about the reclasses or going through all
That
that?
has to go through a whole complete separate thing.
Right, but do we need
I don't
to do a motion for that? To submit?
No, you don't need a motion, but if you'd like to hear a presentation from Jim, I think you should communicate that to him so he knows to come back with more information.
Yeah,
Well, I should, because it's gotta go to personnel with the new JEQs and all of that stuff.
to me, that's down the road. Right now, what I'm looking for is just you guys to give me feedback. And so then I can go back to my team and say, hey, this is what they're thinking, you know, in whatever route we need to go. And then if it's something you guys say, okay, hey, let's start looking at new JDQs. Okay, then we start working with the Ashley and stuff like that, and the other Ashley, and say, okay, maybe we're gonna redo JDQ. What's the difference? What has changed so that these guys should be changed on a JDQ at all? So what has changed? And then that would be for me to document for you guys and bring you guys back that information and keep going that way. Right now, it's just very basic. I just wanna talk to you guys and just,
I mean, so,
I want feedback.
in all fairness, Jim, you
Yeah.
just threw it at us. Now we need to process what you threw at us
Sure.
here.
Sure.
And, keep communication wave open,
Yep.
which I'm all for.
I am too.
Again, I don't wanna sound like I was being harsh over it.
I completely understand.
But
You guys deal with a lot more than just IT. I got it, I know that. And as far as the budget's going, same thing too is, I just didn't want to surprise Jamie at all. If we throw, any of that kind of stuff out there. If it ends up going through before the end of the year, hey, then, we've talked about it. If it doesn't, okay, it's back at original numbers, and there we are. But like I said, I really want your guys' feedback. And so John, you've been very clear that, hey, that's a huge jump, and I don't understand why. Fair enough. It's my job now to say, okay, this is why. This is the things that have changed. This is the things that, we're doing or whatever else, and bring it back to you.
lay it out for us.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, Jim. All right. Approval of the bills. Everybody had a chance to look at the bill.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Motion by Mr. Waywood, second by Mr. Hood, to approve the bills, all in favor say aye. Aye. All the same sign. Bills are paid. Set next meeting date. Now, this is where it's gonna get tricky again. I've seen that look, Mr. Waywood. Okay, so it's August. September terminating, meets on first.
September 4th.
Okay, so September 4th, that would be the next property meeting.
You're doing them the same day?
Yeah, we're gonna change that, we follow as JYE.
Okay, but, what do you want?
8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
precedes JYE, not, yeah. So now we're doing property before JYE. Yeah, okay, all right, that's how we roll.
We can do that.
So property on Wednesday the 4th?
Yes. This was originally what we had moved back in the beginning, now we've.
Okay, so property is the first Wednesday now,
So we finally have gotten back.
at 8.
on
All right.
track.
8 o'clock.
Between the holidays and everything, it's been getting jumped around.
just whining
Yes.
off the record.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
just gonna
that-
take some getting used to
I'm not.
property, I'm,
What money? You put in there, she's lying.
No, I said I wouldn't. God.
that's just an adjustment.
It'll be fine. Change is good. Be used to it.
I'm well aware of change.
Any other things, any other things to discuss? If not, motion to adjourn. Wait, we got things to,
Oh, we gotta pay the bills.
Reminder that, you know, at
Information center,
senior center.
senior center.
That would be great.
You gotta set a time. You know, they're waiting for the other meeting.
Oh, it starts at 2, I would think would be out.
What is it? We
Senior
have,
center by what time?
for what?
Jeez.
Ladies here.
Yes, but then we're going out to the senior center.
Well, wait, Tom was talking about tourism. Are you talking about
Yeah.
tourism? Yeah, we're out at the visitor center.
Oh, that's June's going around.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the tour that supposedly property's going on
Right.
to the fairgrounds. But we need a time to appear
We're
somewhere.
gonna be here, we have JYE here at, 2 o'clock. And then get done with all the courts, stuff or whatever, then we're going to the fairgrounds, so I think it's gonna take an hour-ish.
Tour of the fairgrounds, probably.
No,
Wow.
to get through the court stuff and everything on JYE.
Probably less than that even. Hour, 45 minutes. I think we're pretty quick.
Depends on who's running the meeting.
That would be.
So it's something to that nature.
So I still need the time.
Thank you, Bishop, and thank you.
No,
for getting that
please,
stuff brought up.
please, Jiffy wants to.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate the patience. Very, very appreciate
Thought about
it.
it, I can't.
So, need anything to keep in touch.
Jim?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with this thing.
Okay.
It was not good.
Just typing.
I keep typing.
Alright, everybody signed.
Okay.
Now,
Let me take a look at
entertain
it.
a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Burris, second by Mr. Hanson to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are now adjourned.
You, the county board meeting?
Yes, we did.